All right, guys. So lesson one, this next chapter is all about something called inequalities. So an inequality, all right, has the symbols of greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So before break, you guys had something that would say 5x equals 10, right? You know x would be 2. We would divide both sides by 5. Well, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about inequalities where we've defined solutions or statements that'll make the inequality true. So our target today talks about graphing inequalities. It says, I can graph an inequality. It says an inequality is a statement that shows the relationship between two expressions with one of the following four signs. What do each of the following four inequality symbols represent? Well, if I have x, this arrow going to the left, y, that means x is less than y. For this one, you're going to notice the symbol looks pretty much the same as the one before, right? The only thing that's different is that bar underneath. That is x is less than or equal to y. This next one is x with an arrow going to the right. Okay, that means x is greater than y. You're going to see there's a lot of different ways to think of this, right? Back when I was in elementary school, these symbols, the teachers would talk about Pac-Man, right? If I have this guy here, Pac-Man is always eating the bigger number. Okay, for me, I always look at this little part right here, and I make an arrow out of it to show me, okay, well, numbers going to the left, right? Since that arrow is going that way, gets smaller, or numbers going to the right get bigger. This last one is the same, right? It looks like the guy up above, but it has that line underneath. That stands for x is greater than or equal to y. So solution to an inequality. What we're going to be talking about is finding solutions to inequalities. It's the set of numbers that makes the inequality true. So example 1 says x is less than 5, means all numbers less than but not equal to 5 would make the statement true. So what are some numbers that would work for x is less than 5? Well, I know 4 would work because 4 is less than 5. 2 would work, 0, negative 100, because those numbers are all less than 5. So they're all solutions to this inequality. For number 2, we have x is greater than or equal to 2. That means all numbers greater than, here's the key part, or equal to 2 would make the statement true. So when we see that, that means that bar, because it's greater than or equal to, that 2 is also a solution because 2 is equal to 2. What are some other numbers that would work for this statement? Well, anything bigger than 2. 3, 5, 9, 120, so on and so forth. So when we talk about graphing inequalities, this is a huge stepping stone for algebra, all right? When we talk about graphing inequalities, there's a few things that we have to think about, all right? If you have symbols that are greater than or less than, you're going to use an open circle. So go ahead and draw that open circle there. If you have symbols that have that greater than or equal to or greater than or equal to, or that should be less than or equal to, your circle is going to be closed because it entails that, hey, this number also is a solution. So your first step is always going to be to plot a point using an open or closed circle, and then shade your graph to the right or left using your symbols. So for number 1, it says x is less than 4. I know since this symbol does not have a line underneath, my circle is going to be open. So I'm going to go to my graph. I'm going to put a circle above 4 that is open. And since x is less than 4, I know any number to the left of 4 would make this statement true. There's my graph. So that's saying, hey, negative 5 is less than 4. Negative 4 is less than 4. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, all the way up to 4. And since this circle is open, we're saying that it has to be less than 4. For number 2, it says m is greater than 2. Well, I'm going to go in to 2. I know my circle is opened because it does not include that or equal to sign. And it's saying greater than 2, so any number greater than 2 would make this statement work. Now, for me, I came up with a trick a couple years ago when I was teaching some students this. If you're wondering which way your arrow should go, take a look at this symbol here. It looks like this, right? Well, if I make an arrow out of it, that's showing me that my arrow should be going to the left. For this one, same idea. It says greater than, I'm shading to the right. For this next one, it says h is less than or equal to -1. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to start by putting a circle above -1. And I know since it's also equal to, I'm going to shade that guy in. It says h is less than or equal to -1. So I'm saying any number, -5, -3, -2, and -1 is less than or equal to -1. Again, you're going to see that symbol here. I'm going to draw my arrow in to show that, hey, it's going to the left. That's just how I remember it. You don't need to do this part here if it doesn't help you. Okay, for me, I'm a visual person. That helps me tremendously. This next one says b is greater than or equal to 0. So I'm going to go into 0, put a circle. Should this be opened or closed? Well, closed, because that solution also entails that, hey, 0 would make the statement true. 0 is equal to 0. So that would make this part true. I see that my symbol is greater than, so I'm going to the right. All right. Down below, I'm going to have you guys go ahead and try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own. All right. And then I'm going to have you guys pause the screen now. Try 1 through 8, and then I'm going to go over the answers with you. Number 1, that's less than. So I have x is less than 2. Circles at 2, going to the left. Number 2, it says x is greater than or equal to -4. Circles at -4. I'm going to shade it in, and it's going to the right. Number 3 says x is greater than 3. I'm going to go ahead and put a circle above 3 and have that go to the right. Number 4, it says x is less than or equal to 0. I'm going to shade my circle at 0, have it go to the left. Number 5, x is less than or equal to -1, so I'm going to shade -1 and have that go to the left. 6 says x is greater than 4, so I'm going to have an open circle at 4 and have that going to the right. 7 says x is greater than or equal to -3. I'm going to put a circle at -3 and shade it. It's going to the right. 8, circle is going to be open starting at 2. And it says x is less than 2, so that's going to go all the way to the left. All right. Should be a little bit of a review today, and then later this week we'll be diving into some new stuff. So it says writing an inequality. When you write an inequality, you always start with the variable. Remember, a variable is a letter or a that represents a number. So I'm going to say x. We know x is going to, I'm looking at my sign here, it's going to the left. So x is less than or equal to -1. For this one right here, I'm going to use x as my variable. I see it's going to the right, right? So my symbol has to look something like that. So x is greater than 0. Now, why is it not greater than or equal to? Because my circle right here is open, which indicates it's greater than. Okay. Down here it says write and graph these inequalities. It says you must be at least, that's a key word, 16 to drive in Illinois. So let's think about that. If this is 15, let's say this is 16, this is 17. I know my graph starts at 16. Well, can you be 16 to drive? Yeah, you can be 16 to drive. So you could be 16, you could be 17, you could be 18 to drive. So I know these are all true statements here. So x has to be greater than, and since we're including 16, it's going to be x is greater than and equal to 16. Okay, this next one says babies 2 years old or under. So let's think about that. 2 years old or under can be in the mom and me swim class. So I'm a visual person. I've got 2, 1, 0. You can't be -1 years old, right? So let's think about that. If I have a baby who's 2 years old, it says 2 years old or under can be in that swim class. So 2 would work. 1 would work. 0 would work. So this means x has to be less than or equal to 2. All right, what I want you guys to do is go ahead and check out that homework calendar for what's next. Be checking your emails from me, and I'll send some more stuff your way for you to work on since you're done with the notes for today.